Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Heartland Havoc. I am your host, Caleb Long. Along with me is, and I hate to say this, the man who beat me in fantasy football last week, my father. And I'm not happy about it. David Montgomery did not play well. He got stuffed, and maybe that was the reason why. But also Ashton Genty kind of popped off for my dad. So, you got to take those losses in stride. And to that, I'm going to say, I'll beat you in the playoffs.
Well, we'll see what happens when the playoffs roll around, Caleb.
I'll beat you in the playoffs. That's a certainty.
That is what's happened the last 3 years.
It is what has happened in the past 3 years. So maybe that's the confidence in there. So week 6 has finished up. You know the drill by now. Week 6. Quick recap, power rankings into the week 7 preview. Let's get this started.
All right, let's roll.
We're going to start off with a close matchup, and it is Loyalsock versus Lewisburg. Loyalsock wins this game 14-7 in a low scoring affair. And I remember Friday night when my dad and I were talking about this. This Lewisburg team might be the best 1-5 team.
They
in recent memory.
They may be the best. Not sure what the other teams in the state are like, but probably they're definitely the best 1-5 team in District 4 as close as they played teams. And I was just looking at their upcoming schedule, Caleb. They have Midwest this week, but it doesn't get easier after that.
Oh boy.
Shamokin, Montoursville, and Mifflinburg are the last 3.
So there could have been a lot of games that if they went for wins, they would be looking a lot better in the standings. But like, seriously, this could be a 4-2 team if a couple plays went differently. Maybe this is the unluckiest team. I think if you say a team is good and they have a losing record, that more quantifies unluckiness than it does anything else.
I agree, because they would have turned some teams, losses to some of those teams, those other 3 teams that they could possibly beat, would really affect their standings also. And Lewisburg just trying to get through the season and get some wins. Maybe they'll pull off an upset somewhere down the line here. You never know.
Yeah, I think they're the trap game for some teams. Maybe they're overlooking them for sure. But Loyalsock, gets the job done. And heading on to Mifflinburg, another team that absolutely got the job done, beating Milton 49-7. And this is a good bounce back win for them after a tough loss to Hollidaysburg.
Right.
And
it seemed like Mifflinburg was clicking on all cylinders again on offense, and they got through that game pretty easily as they prepare for a matchup this week that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I mean, they were up 28-0 by the halftime, and then they put on 14 more in the third quarter. So it got them in mercy rule. Strong performance. We got South Williamsport taking care of Cowanesque Valley 5-4, and I believe that puts South Williamsport
5-4,
54-6.
Okay,
I'm sorry. It's been a long day of work. But now they're 300, and they are looking at, what are they looking at for the playoffs?
Well, they're 3-3. They currently sit at the 8th seed in 2A, which would get them in the playoffs. Remaining games of Sayre, Muncie, Montgomery, and Northwest. So the Northern Tier schedule coming into their favor, possibly Coach Eisworth up there on the South Side has those boys chugging along with the run game and playing good defense.
I think the big game in that one I heard was Montgomery.
Right.
They
5-1 Montgomery.
5-1 Montgomery. Yeah, they locked up the 2 seed in the single A. Seemingly, hopefully, if everything plays out for them correctly. They beat Muncie 27-7, which in a game I think could have been a lot closer. But Montgomery, all facets of the game, they were just on top of Muncie.
And that's a trophy game, big rivalry game to win the shoe. It's a bronze shoe that they pass back and forth, so it's always big. Not sure when the last time is that Montgomery won that, but it's huge that they do get the win in that game.
Yes, exactly. Muncie, they're still 4-2. there's still hope for them.
Muncie's
And-
very, very young. I was talking to someone
Okay.
this week about Muncie a little bit. They're starting like 6 or 7 sophomores.
okay.
So they're a very young team this year. So to be at 4-2, kudos to them right now.
I mean, we could be talking about them next year and in 2 years, and they're the top dog of single A.
Right.
So
right.
don't get discouraged by the results. I mean, odds are you're probably going to end up in a 3 seed in a rematch with Montgomery, or if you slip a little bit, you still get to play like Line Mountain, which will it be a tough matchup, of course, but that playoff experience is very helpful for them for sure. Some northern tier matchups. We got Towanda defeating Canton 41-14. I believe that is their first win of the season, so congrats to them. We have Troy beating Wyalusing 49-14. I mean, a good team in Troy. They got the job done, did what they were supposed to do. I believe they were on the Super 16 or whatever, which one, but they got the job done. Did they I thought they started off with 5 road games potentially.
That is what they said on the news, was that they started with 5 road games. That was the first.
No, they actually did. Yeah,
that was the first home game in week 6, which is really unbelievable. I've never heard of a schedule like that in all my years of
Do you
being
think there
around
was like
football.
some sort of construction happening or repairs happening in where they play in the middle of a field?
Well, there could have been. They played in the middle of the racetrack at the fairgrounds. So there could have been something going on there. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the scoop on that up there. Not a lot of contacts up that way. But the fact is, they've got that machine rolling again with 5 wins. I do know this though, also from talking to someone else this week. They're doing what they can to keep that program building. They traveled for a JV game Monday night.
Okay.
From Troy to Line Mountain. You cannot get much
a JV game
for a JV game. So
that
they could play JV. Yes. So that they could play a JV game. They are traveling as far as they can to get these JV games in, and that tells you what they're trying to build up there. They have enough to play. Not many more northern tier teams do, and they'll travel about as far of a distance of the
of District 4
that you can north to south.
I mean, also Line Mountain's a really good team. I'm going to assume that Line Mountain's junior varsity is also a good team. But like how well they've been playing on varsity, they had a very good game against Steelton High Spire. 36-34 was the final. They were able to stop a comeback by Steelton High Spire, a team that has been historically one of the best in 1A. And I'm trying to think of, I don't know the 1A landscape that much, but I think at this point you can sort of say that Line Mountain may be the best team or one of the best teams in 1A at this point.
I would agree with that, Caleb. And also hearing some things about that game. Steel High was very undisciplined, a lot of penalties, a lot of offsides, and things like that occurred that hurt them. And Line Mountain took advantage of that and played a better brand of fundamental football.
Okay. I mean, when you have a lot of penalties, it's really hard to come back from that, especially since a close game. It was such a close game. Those penalties might have make or break teams in that scenario.
Correct.
Heading on to our next matchup, another close game. We're talking about Shikellamy and Central Mountain, 14-7.
Oh,
this game was very, I don't want to say painful is the right word, but I'm shocked the score was that low.
So did you listen to it? So I have a question. When you're producing the radio, I know you produced the radio for them. Wait, it was a home game, wasn't it? For Shik.
It was a home game.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So you had the video feed, so you watched it too.
Oh well, like the video feed, they live stream it every
week, whether they're home or away.
No, they'll travel. Okay. They'll travel. But there was just a lot of turnovers and turnover on downs. I believe, if I remember correctly, Shikellamy went 2 for 7 in the red zone, and that's just something you have to clean up. Obviously, you escape a win from the clutches of defeat. It just needs to be a little bit more polished. And Central Mountain is a better team than I think their record says. I think they've been able to hang in. Their defense is very bend not break for most of the time if they're in games. So if I'm Central Mountain, tough loss, game that you could have had, but this was a defensive matchup to say the least. And I don't know. I don't know where Shikellamy is because this was supposed to be a big bounce back game and you were going to curb stomp them. And then that's not really what happened.
Yeah, they ended, they're 4-2 right now, winless Central Mountain team. In high school also sometimes it is matchups, just like
Exactly.
other levels of football. So I think it was just the teams matched up well, and you came away with a close game there.
Yep. And next we're going to talk about Warrior Run versus North Penn Mansfield. This was a pair of 4-1 teams heading into the game, and Warrior Run absolutely blew the doors off of North Penn Mansfield, traveling up to them and absolutely laying it on thick.
North Penn traveled to Warrior Run.
Never mind. Other way around.
It was
bro, why did I think that they...
No, it was a big home game for Warrior Run, and they were up 35-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, end of first quarter. I couldn't believe the score, to be honest. Could not believe that score. And then it was real.
Again,
and
it was a blown coverage. Again, talking to one of the Warrior Run coaches this week, it was a blown coverage on the first snap of the game, and they hit Cone Zeckman down the seam for a long touchdown pass. North Penn just totally blew the coverage on that. He had a punt return. Zeckman, I believe, had 4 touchdowns right away there.
Impressive.
So they really put it to Central Mountain. Or not Central Mountain. They really put it to North Penn. Sorry.
Yeah, all good. I mean, just great game by Warrior Run. And I would say a complete game by Warrior Run. Defensively, offensively, very strong performance. Next up, we have Montoursville shutting out Central Columbia 52-0. They're keeping on rebounding after their loss to Mifflinburg. They've had rattled off a couple of solid games back to back.
Right, Montoursville putting that together, scoring easily against the Central Mountain team that is clearly in a rebuild phase.
Central Columbia.
I keep saying Central Mountain.
You think everyone's playing against Central Mountain?
Never mind. Sorry about that. Against the Central Columbia team that's clearly in a rebuild this year, and you have Montoursville looking to continue to solidify a strong playoff spot in District 4 Class 3A.
Yep, and then we got Bloomsburg beating Midwest 48-13, having a very good bounce back win after their loss against Loyalsock last week. I mean, there's not much more to say than they had a very good bounce back game. Wyatt Brocious played a very good game as what he normally does.
Right. Bloomsburg taking care of business again, going to 5-1 on the season, and they are looking like they hit their stride again with a good game against Northwest.
Yep, and then we have Shamokin beating Selinsgrove 57-12. Now, Papa Padre, you were reffing that game, and what were your thoughts coming out of that game?
Shamokin's impressive. Shamokin is real impressive. Their lines up front are both sides of the ball, very tough. They play good brand of football, whole region tough football within the rules. It was
within the rules.
No. They'll go and they'll block through the whistle. They'll play hard, but they all facets of the game. Their kicker hit a field goal from an extreme right angle. You know how high school
love that
on the hashes can be quite angles. It was about a 33-yarder, but it was on the right hash, so a pretty good angle to hit that through. They just a couple good punt returns by the quarterback DB Logan Steele. He's a tremendous player. Seeing him in person, and again, I can't say enough about their front. getting the job done and moving people around. Selinsgrove is young. Besides being young, they had several injured players out for that game.
Yep.
So the Seals are hoping to get things turned around somewhere, and maybe get some of those guys back at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
But they just have to keep plugging away. They did score, like when the scores came when Shamokin had a bulk of their backups in. Selinsgrove kept competing. So the kids kept going, and really, I mean, in that situation, you have younger players for Selinsgrove really playing against the same level of competition.
Right. And also shout out to my cousin Wyatt Teets, who called some plays.
Right.
On the sideline.
He's injured, apparently he helped.
Yep.
He had a headset on and helped call some plays.
Yeah. We have photographic evidence from my mother. And heading on to another game, we have Mount Carmel beating Hughesville 41-13. Now this is, I think we said it was a must-win game for both teams, and Mount Carmel did end up coming up with the win. I think that keeps them in the thick of it for that 4th seed in 3A, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely does. They're now sitting at the 4th seed in front of Lewisburg, right behind Danville.
So they're in the thick of it. They got to keep on getting some of these good wins to really try to solidify a decent playoff push. Another Northern Tier matchup, Athens beat Wellsboro 35-22. And I bring this up mainly because I remember looking at the box score while it was updating, and Wellsboro for a good chunk of the game was beating Athens. And that would have been a very interesting mix-up if Wellsboro did beat Athens in that Northern Tier division. I think for the most part it is Troy and then Athens up in the Northern Tier, but I think if Wellsboro came up with the win, there could have been a conversation to where Wellsboro could have been the second best team in that Northern Tier.
Right. So we have basically you had an upset alert going on there.
Yeah, there was some alarm bells going on.
WKOK scoreboard, huh?
Yeah. I don't think it was actually on the scoreboard. I don't think we really covered the Northern Tier that much.
Gotcha.
On the WKOK scoreboard, but I was looking. I was watching. And now we go from high school football to Madden 26. What do I mean by that? I think you know what I mean by that. The Jersey Shore Williamsport game had the most Madden score of my life that I've seen in recent memory. 67-40. That is just absolutely crazy. And I was looking at the box score stats. The Jersey Shore, quick math, definitely had total yards over 600.
Wow.
They had over 400 rushing yards. They had Pauling going for 168 on 13 carries and 2 touchdowns. Bo Seacrest, 164 on 23 carries and 3 touchdowns. And then they had Harrett, number 30, Cash Harrett, go for 117, and then they had a couple more miscellaneous runs.
So they had 3 backs over 100 yards.
They had 3 rushers with over 100 yards. And the Millionaires, their starting quarterback, I believe Tevin Williams, my apologies, threw for 331 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Wow.
Absolute Madden-like stats in a game where it had to be so entertaining to watch if you were there live. And I remember updating every time I would update the scores, look through the scores and update them. Every time I checked, different score from that game every 5 freaking minutes, maybe even sooner, maybe even every 3 minutes there was a score change, and I'm just like, I have to sit next to this computer and update it constantly. I wish I could have watched the game. I feel like it would have been such an entertaining game to watch.
Well, you have the aspect there of both teams going no huddle, getting a lot of plays in quickly, especially Jersey Shore goes really fast.
Jersey Shore had 71 plays
in 48 minutes of football.
Right,
that's pretty impressive.
And then we have our final matchup. We have Southern Columbia beating Danville 41-21. Good win by Southern Columbia. I think this was probably their first challenge-ish in 4A, District 4. I think I remember saying that last episode. Well, we can go back to it, or you can say I'm wrong in the comments. I don't really care. But they showed out. It was a good win for Southern Columbia. And with that being said, I think it is about time we go into our power rankings. Now, I will say once again this week, I did change it up right before we started filming. I feel fine about it, but if I had more time to consider, this list may have changed. But obviously, we're just going to roll with it. We're just going to roll with it, and I'm going to defend what my list says. And let's start off with number 10.
Okay, am I going first again?
Yeah, go for it. Go first.
Number 10, making their debut in my top 10 this week, is the Loyalsock Lancers.
Okay, yes. Loyalsock is also my number 10. Last week, I had Loyalsock and Shikellamy in that 10th spot. I did end up bumping Shikellamy out. They're definitely number 11 for sure, but I'd rather have the 14-7 win that Loyalsock had over Lewisburg than it was a very ugly win for Shikellamy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I don't know. I'd just rather have Loyalsock's 14-7 win over Shikelamy's 14-7 win. That's where I was at. I don't know if you have Shikellamy on your list, but
Shikelamy's on the outside looking in. They're one of my 3 teams to consider for next week, depending what happens.
Yeah. Who else is getting votes on your end?
The ones getting votes that are outside of the top 10?
Yeah. Let's say the getting votes, the honorable mentions. I have Montgomery. I was really heavily considering putting them in here this episode.
I also have Montgomery on the outside.
And then what? Athens?
Also.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, to be fair, definitely those ones for sure. Number 9.
Number 9, I have the same team that was number 9 last week for me, the Bloomsburg Panthers.
Okay, I have Southern Columbia at number 9. They bumped down a couple spots, and I think it's not from like a bad win from them or anything like that. I think there was a team or two that had a more impressive win, and I think Troy's win, very strong win on home turf. Warrior Run's win was also a really good win, so I did bump down Southern Columbia a couple spots just because, it was a good win. I liked other teams' wins better.
So number 8, I have Warrior Run. I actually bumped them down a couple spots.
Oh, interesting.
Because I was thinking, well, maybe we overrated North Penn Mansfield a little bit by what Warrior Run did to them. I don't know. I just bumped them down a bit. It sets up an interesting matchup this week. The Warrior Run is a very intriguing matchup that we'll get to in a little bit.
See, I think I have Troy sticking at number 8. I think I had them there last week. Good win against Wyalusing. Good home win for them.
I moved Troy up to number 7, seeing them at 5-1 from 8 last week.
I have Bloomsburg at number 7.
Okay.
I think it's a very good win for them against Midwest, who I think in some aspects is like an okay team. You know what I'm saying? Like they've done a lot worse for themselves in the years past. So I have Bloomsburg at number 7. Number 6, I have Warrior Run. I think I really liked Warrior Run's win against North Penn Mansfield. And I was also thinking about their other games, and I think they have a lot of really good other games, especially they're the only team that beat Montgomery, and Montgomery is on that cusp of top 10 that I'm like, I have to respect that win as well.
That's a good point, Caleb. That's a very good point. I have at number 6 Montoursville.
Okay, yep.
They were actually 5 last week, but I dropped them down to 6.
All right.
But that's where the Warriors are at.
Who is your 5?
Number 5 team, I have Southern Columbia up at number 5. I'm getting more and more impressed with them with each passing week, and we'll see what happens this week. But I have them up to 5 from number 7.
Number 5, and I don't know why I bumped them down a spot. I have Line Mountain down a spot. Close game against Stilton High Spire. I did not realize how undisciplined Steelton High Spire was. I mean, I guess I was just being a box score warrior, I guess you could say. But it was a close game. They almost got the comeback, and it's like if you're Line Mountain, you have to. I mean, like obviously take the good win, right?
Right.
Strong win, but they were close to getting you.
Well,
Steelton was close to getting you.
And I have number 4 at Mifflinburg. They were 3 last week, but I have them down to 4, mainly because, as you were just talking about Lime Mountain, I bumped Lime Mountain up to 3 because they're undefeated still.
Yeah, that's
okay,
fair.
So that's why I bumped them up to 3, because they're still one of the 2 undefeated teams in District 4 after 6 weeks. And then I set up a 4-5 matchup there in my rankings. Southern Columbia and Mifflinburg playing this week is the 4-5 matchup, and we'll see what happens.
I have Montoursville at 4, Mifflinburg at 3. I think it was a good. Montoursville is really getting in stride after they lost to Mifflinburg, and Mifflinburg, didn't let the Hollidaysburg loss take control. It didn't let them get into their heads.
Right.
And they had a very good win as well. And then I think our top 2 is staying the same. Jersey Shore number 2, Shamokin at 1.
Yes, that's correct. Those are the same. Okay. And so we'll get into this week's matchups next, right, Caleb?
Yes, we shall.
Before we do that, though,
you
go missed for it. One District 4 matchup from last week.
I missed Jenkintown beating Columbia Montourville. JTP. Shout out to the Goldbergs, man. Shout out Shane Top. I doubt you're listening to this, but he was the deadhead.
Okay.
He was the deadhead, and I've been following him ever since. He's a very funny guy. Yo, shout out Shane Top.
So I just had to say that, get that in on the old Goldbergs sitcom.
Yeah. Old Goldbergs. I'm looking through this for the first time. There's some really fun games happening this week. Yep. We're gonna start off with Selinsgrove versus Shikellamy. The rally in the valley. I think that's what it's called. I think I'm right about that.
I think you might be. The Battle of the River, the battle across the Susquehanna. You throw the records out in this game.
Yes, absolutely throw the records out. Both teams are going to play their hearts out. It is at Shikellamy High School, which, I mean, I think the home field advantage is going to be a heavy factor in there. Sunbury, Northumberland, they're going to turn up for this game because Shikellamy is playing the best football they've played in a long time.
Yeah, they're going to pack the stands. That stadium's renovated recently. It's beautiful. Big stands, a lot of space for people to pile in. They might be having the park on Market Street and walking a couple blocks back, but they'll get there.
And here we have another matchup that is going to be crazy for the Class 2A. We have Warrior Run versus Loyal Sock. This is the chance to have some heavy implications for 2A. Where are they standing?
So Warrior Run
against each
Warrior
other.
Run's number 1 in 2A.
Yep,
This is very interesting. Warrior Run's 1 in 2A. Loyal Sock is 5. However, this also factors in heavily the Division 3 of the PIAC, as this is Loyal Sock's last division game.
Oh,
they're
interesting.
4-0.
Okay.
Warrior Run is 2-1 with their one loss coming to Bloomsburg.
Okay.
So if Warrior Run wins, it sets up the potential for a 3-way tie.
Interesting.
If Bloom and Warrior Run both win out.
Wait, so it's Loyal Sock, then Bloom, then Warrior Run.
Right now, because Bloom has one more division win than Warrior Run does. So it sets it up very interestingly in PHAC Division 3. And, there's a plaque that goes with that. There's the pride of winning the division.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that goes with that. So this is a huge matchup.
Yes.
With
a lot
the defenders
is
traveling up to Loyalsock Township to take on the Lancers.
Yeah. And I mean, historically, these games have been an absolute bloodbath too. I remember last season, the regular season game, that one was a very close one where Loyalsock won, and then Warrior Run got them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So both of these teams, this is like a bit of I feel like this is a bit of a genuine rivalry that's starting up between these two teams. Very good teams between those two. This is the game that I am watching. surprisingly, I guess you could say, because we do have Mifflinburg and Southern Columbia also on the docket. But like, hey, call me a homer. I want to see Warrior Run get this win.
There you go.
Yeah, Southern Columbia versus Mifflinburg,
Woo.
battle of 5-2 matchups.
No,
Uh,
5-2,
5-2, 5-1. Hey, maybe
5-1.
Hey, one of these teams is going to be 5-2 at the end of the game. So this also, if Southern Columbia wins this game, I think they number 2 right now, or is Troy number 2?
Southern's number 2 in 2A.
Okay. I mean, this would be a very strong win for the District 4 standings, and a lot of big implications for either team. I mean, if Southern Columbia wins against Mifflinburg, then that's like their big marquee moment. And Mifflinburg, this is their second biggest test in District 4, other than what they did to Montoursville. And I think I'm leaning Mifflinburg here because of what they did to Montoursville. Because I think a Montoursville Southern Columbia matchup would also be a very close game. So I think if Mifflinburg was able to shut out Montoursville, I think there's a high likelihood that Southern Columbia could struggle here.
Mifflinburg, this game last year was won by Mifflinburg at Southern.
Right.
An
And it's
exciting
home.
game, and now
It's home for Mifflinburg.
Southern has to come to Miff.
Long drive.
A long drive.
Again, about an hour.
Yep. And it really goes towards a long way to determining also PIAA Division 2. Both teams are undefeated right now in the PIAA Division 2.
Okay.
Looks like Southern still has to play Montoursville in that division, and you gotta find the Mifflinburg schedule here. And Mifflinburg, I'm not sure who they play next week. Anyhow, it looks that way, and we're looking at a great matchup and a great turnout at that game in Mifflinburg.
All right, and then we're also looking at the other matchups. We have Montoursville against Central Mountain. We have Hughesville versus Bloomsburg. You know, hopefully Bloomsburg can continue their winning streak. South Williamsport versus Sayre. Sayre's 0-6. South Williamsport has a chance of going over 500 in that one. Another interesting one, we have Danville and Mount Carmel, both 2-4. Both, I believe, the 3 and 4 seed in 3A currently.
Right,
Am I right?
You were right on that, Caleb. That's going to go a long way to seeing who gets the 3 seed there, I believe.
And just a reminder, only 4 teams from Class 3A will make the playoffs. So that is very important to note. We have Muncie versus North Penn Mansfield, both 4-2, both facing some ugly-ish losses. So we'll see who is able to get that bounce back win there. Athens versus Towanda, another Northern Tier matchup. We have Canton versus Wyalusing. One of those teams is going to get their second win of the season, along with getting their second win of the season. We have Lewisburg and Midwest, both 1-5, seeing if Lewisburg can actually get a win instead of losing in brutal fashion. Wellsboro and Troy, this is probably the marquee Northern Tier matchup for sure. I mean, well, technically Muncie's in Northern Tier, so maybe the marquee Northern Tier matchup is Muncie and North Penn Mansfield. But Wellsboro versus Troy, Montgomery versus Northwest Area. We have Milton versus Central Columbia, and then we have 2 games, the final 2 games, big games here. Shamokin versus Williamsport. This is Williamsport's tough stretch of the schedule, and they're facing off against the top dog.
Right. I think Shamokin has to be somewhat favored with being the undefeated right now. They do go up to Williamsport. We'll see if they can match Williamsport's athleticism. But Shamokin has quite a few athletes of their own. It'd be interesting to see. I believe it's going to be one up front, having seen both those teams. Could be a really close game, though, and it also is going to come down to who can secure the football, because sometimes both teams take chances that they think they can get in, and sometimes they're turnovers. So who can control? I think whoever wins the turnover battle in this game will ultimately come out as the winner.
We'll see if that actually holds true when we record next week. And I think I lied when I said that the main matchup that I'll be looking out for is Warrior Run and Loyalsock. That's number 2. Number 1, Hollidaysburg versus Jersey Shore. This is even more of a crazy matchup than I think Hollidaysburg versus Mifflinburg was.
Right.
This could be absolutely crazy. I think Jersey Shore is running in with a ton of momentum after they had a great win against Shikellamy a couple of weeks ago, and then putting up 67 against a pretty strong Williamsport team. This could be a great game for Jersey Shore. I think. I mean, I wouldn't even call it an upset. This would be two big players going up against each other.
Listen, I know you're a little young, but this is like a old school heavyweight fight. See which one stands at the end. It could be come down very easily. Could come down to who has the football last and who scores the last touchdown. I think this game is going to be exciting. If you don't have anywhere to go, probably go to Jersey Shore. If you're not
Head up to Jersey
you're not a
Shore
fan
for
of
sure.
anyone, but you got that game, you got Willisock and Warrior Run, and then you have Mifflinburg and Southern. And I think you're going to get your $5 worth or $6 worth, whatever the price of an adult admission is. You can't find a better bargain around than a high school football game.
Oh, especially Hollidaysburg versus Jersey Shore. I just looked it up. Hollidaysburg is an hour and 30 minutes away
Okay.
from Jersey Shore. I thought that drive was going to be longer, but regardless, thank you for listening to another episode of Heartland Havoc. I am your host, Caleb Long, along with my co-host, Christopher Long, who will lose to me in Fantasy Football Championship once again.
We'll see. We're going to get off the schneid this year, buddy.
The Schneid?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Losing
and I'm
streak.
going to say, okay, gotcha. And I'm going to say that that's a good way to end the episode. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you listen to us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Have a good night, everybody.